In the readings today, we hear how God saves, God frees, God walks us from the fire. We all need saving. We all need a Savior. We all need the Lord because we all make mistakes. We all sin. And we all need forgiveness. God is right there, always giving 100%. Even if we're only giving 10% or 20%, God picks up the slack. Sometimes we stop ourselves from receiving what our son and daughtership affords us by our birthright because we think we're unworthy. We are all worthy. We were made by God in His own image and likeness. God does not make junk. He creates pure love. We are pure love. And sometimes we focus on the wrong thing. We focus on our own unworthiness. What does God want for us? A long, long time ago, I heard a priest give a talk in the Anaheim Convention Center in California. There were 18,000 people in attendance. And the speaker was this priest, this Asian priest named Father Tang. He had a bald head. He was a very impressive guy. And he asked the crowd a question. Now, again, this was a long time ago. And the question was, why did God make us? Now, if you are older, like me, you would have memorized the answer to that question when you were in the second grade. The question and answer were from the old Baltimore Catechism. So without hesitation, 18,000 people answered in unison. God made us to know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him in this world, and to be happy with Him in the next. And the priest said, I don't think that's true. And 18,000 people went, I thought the building was going to implode with all of the air being sucked out of it. And then the priest said this. He said, God made us for one reason and one reason only. God made us to be happy. I spent a lot of time in my life thinking about that question and what that priest said. And the question I ask myself is, when in my life am I most happy? And I really believe that if any of you took the time and thought about that question, you would come up with the same answer I did. The times in our lives that we're most happy are the times we're there for somebody else, when we're in service to someone else. Someone calls and needs you and you're there, a child, a parent, a friend, a stranger. Someone is in need and you are called to be there. So you see, being in service to others is how we know God and how we love God, because when we are doing for the least of our brothers and sisters, we are doing for God. And by doing that, we find our true happiness. The readings on this day are filled with God coming to the rescue of those who believe in Him. Their faith is always setting them free. All things are possible with God. Even when we feel that God is absent from us, I think that's when He's the closest. You all know the beautiful poem about the footprints in the sand, where the person has a dream and sees different times of their lives and sees that God was there walking with them throughout their lives. There were always two sets of footprints in the sand. But at closer reflection, the person says, during those times when my life was not good and I was sad or lonely and felt lost, I noticed that there was only one single set of footprints in the sand. Where were you then? And God tells them that the reason for the single set of footprints is that during that time, during your darkest time, God says, I carried you. It's okay to say, God, where were you? It's okay to say, to ask, are you really there? But if we do, we have to pay attention to His answer. One time, I was away from home and I was kind of down in the dumps. Hey, it happens. And it was a Sunday. And I found a church with a late mass and stepped inside, only to realize that it was a Spanish-speaking mass. Everyone in the church was Spanish. The mass was totally in Spanish. Unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish. So it was just adding to my great feeling that I wasn't going to get anything out of the liturgy of the word, not understanding the readings or the homily. Figures, I probably mumbled to myself. This was one of those times where I was questioning God, and I clearly remember saying those exact words to myself that I just mentioned. Are you really there, Lord? Are you there? And about 3 rows ahead of me was a family with a little boy, maybe 5 or 6. Again, everyone was Spanish. And when I asked in my head, are you really there, Lord? That little boy turned around and said in a loud voice in perfect English, yes, I am. To which his mother quickly grabbed him and turned him around. Coincidence? Sure. Probably. But you couldn't tell me on that day. It's okay to ask, where are you, Lord? Are you there? We just need to pay attention to the answers. We all might be surprised.